Hello everybody and welcome back to King Valley Campers. Today we are wiring up this transit van and we thought we'd take the opportunity to show you how to route your cabling in a safe and secure manner. In previous videos, we've shown you what wiring elements you are going to need to complete your dream camper van. We've spoken to you about Rain Automotive, the guys who custom build our wiring looms, and they're also the people who supply our lights, our batteries, and everything else we need to help you build your dream camper van. We also did a separate video, if you just have a look up here, and that is to show you how to wire up your split charge system. We carried that out on a VW T5, but the method is going to be exactly the same in your vehicle. Today we're going to be dealing with this transit. We've got the complete van to rewire, but we're just going to pick a couple of elements just to show you how to route your cabling in a safe and secure manner. The main part of most of the leisure electric systems in a camper van or motorhome is the power source. In this case, we are going to use a 110 amp hour AGM leisure battery. That leisure battery is going to be located right here under the single passenger seat. The split charge system doesn't have to travel far. In a previous video, you saw us fit one into a Volkswagen T4, and the leisure battery was located in the van, but the vehicle battery was located under the bonnet. In this case, the vehicle battery and a secondary battery is already situated under the driver's seat, so we have quite a short run to run our split charge system. So the split charge system is going to be connected to the vehicle battery under the driver's seat, and then we're going to run the cable to under the passenger seat where our AGM 110 amp hour battery is going to live. I'm not going to cover that today because we've already covered it in the video right here. What we have to do then is route our wiring loom. Now in this case we are going to run the cables up these B pillars here, up this side or up this side. Haven't quite decided yet. We're going to cover that when we've got the loom out. We're then going to route the wiring up in the beams following existing wiring routes. So each vehicle already has a wiring loom in it which will control anything from your interior lights to the, say, the brake lights, rear light assemblies. So there is already cables running from front to back, and what we're going to try and do is follow those existing routes because they've already got cable clips, they've already got a safe route of passage, and if we follow those we know we're going to have a safe place to run our cables. The vehicle we are going to be working in today is a medium wheelbase, medium height or L2H2 Ford Transit van. Now the customer in this particular case has actually used our videos to carry out ply lining and insulation to the standard he requires, and then he's brought it back to us to run the wiring, and we're going to take a little segment out of that today just to show you how to safely route the wiring. Now in terms of the layout, their customer's gone for a fairly traditional layout in the sense that they're going to have a permanent bed at about this height, and the front of the van forward of the bed is actually going to have the kitchen areas in it. So right here we're going to have a sink, a drawer, and then a storage unit underneath where you've got fresh and wastewater. Behind us we're going to have a fridge here, a heater just in front of it, and a worktop area again. Now it's going to be a 3-berth, and the third bed is going to be up here. As we said before, the permanent bed is going to be about here, and it's going to be about knee level. Now the reason it's so low is because there's going to be a second bed up here. Now that is for Leo. Hello mate, how you doing? Your dad asked me to give you a shout out. This is Leo's bed up here. It's going to be about 5.5 feet long. It's going to be supported from the top and from underneath as well, so it's nice and safe and secure. And the reason we're showing it to you is because we are going to be wiring up his LED reading light. Once we've got to that stage of routing all the cables where we want, including these lights, we've started to remove the wooden panels from the inside of the van. And what we're actually doing is using the existing clips on the van. If you look here, this grey clip is actually holding in the existing wiring loom for this van, this Transit. And we're just recycling them, reusing them to run our cables. And now we know that's a good way to hold these cables because the factory used them. Once we've routed the cable as far as we can using the existing factory methods, we are going to show you the front of the vehicle where we're now going to create a new route for our leisure wiring. Now that panel's removed, you can almost see the sort of structure that we're going to be laying our cables into. And all I'm going to do is start with the fuse box end first. Route it through the existing bodywork of the van to make for a neat route through, and then using the existing factory clips to simply slide it in. Now this is going to differ from vehicle to vehicle. Not every van is going to have these lovely clips here that you're going to just be able to clip into. I'm actually going to go through the entire system, and rather than leaving them loose like that, which can potentially rattle, causing noise in your van, which you might not want, I'm actually going to go through and cable tie our new loom to the existing wiring loom. But at the moment, this is exactly where we're going to need our plug. I'm now going to route the cable back down towards the battery. We followed all of the clips through, and now we want to bring the cable down this B pillar here. Now it doesn't seem obvious where the cable's coming through yet, but I can see an existing wire or part of the existing loom coming down here. What I'm going to do now is go and get some tools. We're going to need trim clip tools, Phillips screwdriver and some spanners, because we need to remove this seatbelt point, remove the plastic trim, and then just pull a couple of clips out of here to then pull down the headliner slightly just to see where the existing cable route is, and then we're going to finish by routing this wire down in this B pillar nice and neatly. With a little bit of digging and removing some trim, we've been able to find an existing wiring route that we could follow to safely locate this cable through the vehicle. What it's using as a shield is this cable guard. It's a flexible Copex or sheath or whatever you want to call it. This one in particular, it's got a split all the way down the side so you can safely route your cable in. And then once we've fitted our cable inside of this guard, we're going to run it through the bodywork using the existing route of the vehicle wiring. Now that vehicle wiring is actually for things like seatbelt pretensioners and sensors that will tell you if your seatbelt's off, for example. So we've got to be very careful not to disturb that, but at the same time we want our cable to be nice, secure and safe within that piece of bodywork. What I'm doing now then, I'm going to just mock up where I want that cable to run. You'll notice that this cable in particular is actually a bit too short, but that's fine, I'm going to extend that later. But what I'm doing now is just making a really good estimation as to where that cable guard sheath needs to be cut. And I know I'm running cabling down this B pillar and that B pillar, and this, if I chop that in half, it's actually just going to be perfect for routing through those sharp areas of bodywork, because when it comes out down here via this handy little hole, I'm going to be using a rubber grommet, and I'll go into that shortly. So you'll notice I haven't actually secured that yet. I will secure it once I've got the cable in the home that I want it to stay in forever, and I'll be securing it just via this fabric tape. Now this is the tape you will see that's wrapped all the way around this wiring, And if I show you how to do this now, this won't be the permanent home for this sheath on here, but what all I'll do is just wrap that round there, and it gives a nice neat closing point to this plastic part, and it prevents that cable from moving up and down too much. Up to this point, we have routed the cable in the supplied clips. We've now fed the cable through the sheath, we've taped up the ends, and now we are going to follow the existing vehicle wiring loom through here. And then from this point, the cable is going to dive into the bodywork. There's a hole just in there. Again, this sheathing is going to help protect that cable. I'm going to feed that cable through here. And with a bit of luck, and probably a bit of editing, I'm going to grab the cable up through this B-pillar and pull it all the way through for you. Another tool that's very handy when carrying out this job are these rods. Now, much like you'd find in plumbing or even cleaning chimneys, I guess, these rods screw together sort of any length you desire. They're quite flexible. I believe they're made of fiberglass, and what they're used for is actually feeding through the cavities and being quite solid and flexible. They'll be a little easier to sort of grab and route than, say, a very flexible wire. So, nice little thing to invest in. I mean, you can obviously use maybe welding wire or pulled out coat hangers if you can't get hold of any of these. But yeah, to have a tool like this to feed through all the cavities is very, very handy. I've now used those rods to feed down to the B-pillar. I've now found the end. Using our cloth tape. Where's my cloth tape gone? Using my cloth tape, when I find it, I'm going to tape on that end of the cable onto the end of the rods, and I'll be able to pull all the cable through as desired. And there we have it. We've used those rods to feed through the B-pillar, taped our cable to it, and we've now got a very safe and secure route for our cable. I've just now got to do that to about another 50 metres worth of cable, and then I'll get back to you. We're now on to the passenger side, the sliding door side, and we've got a huge bundle of cables here that we basically want to route in the same manner down this B-pillar. To make routing a big bundle of cables like this a little easier, I've just used that fabric tape just to collect them all together. I can then route them in one fell swoop, and they're not going to catch or get snagged up anywhere. And when it gets to the point of routing it through your trunking, when you've got just one cable to deal with, this will be a little easier to feed through than a huge bundle. There's going to be quite a lot to squeeze through that hole. Quote that one. Okay, that was a bit of an effort, but what we've now done, we've got those 5 individual looms, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 individual looms routed along above the sliding door into its own copex or sheath, routed through with the factory wiring, down through the B pillar, and now we're down at this point here. So although it looks like a lot and it looks a bit of a mess, it looks a bit daunting, it's actually fine. All we've got to do now is route it down to that battery box. So to keep, the first thing I'm going to do is use this fabric tape, and again this is available from Rain Automotive, so if you order one of their looms, maybe order a couple of rolls of this fabric tape as well. Their link is down in the description, or you can buy their gear directly through our website, so make sure you do that. But what I'm doing now, I'm just going to keep that wire just bound together, just a little bit, just at what, you know, 30 centimetre intervals, just so it's all in one. It's a bit more manageable, you know, it's not going everywhere. Now our next stage is to route the cable under this, and the way we're going to do that is through this little hole down here. We've got the cable this far and we've tied it all up so it's nice and neat, because the next thing we're going to need to do is route the cable down here out of the B pillar, and we've chosen to use this hole here. We're going to then route the cable underneath this plastic trim, and we're going to bring it out just down here. We're actually going to cut a hole in this plastic trim, and then we're going to bring the cable out just down here. Mainly because what I wanted to do originally was bring it down here and then out of this hole so it's all completely concealed. However, in between this part of the body and this part of the body, there's no way through. So we're going to be bringing the loom out now of this hole. We're going to grommet it first. That is a very important point. If you're bringing the cable through any metalwork, whether it's a fresh hole or an existing hole, always use a rubber grommet. These are available from your Motor Factors or Amazon or eBay or anything like that. We get ours from our Motor Factors, and what we're going to do now is feed the cable down through this B pillar and out of this point. Now it's grommeted, I'm very happy that the cabling is not going to chafe on that and then short out against the bodywork. Oh my god, right. I don't even know what to say now. Okay. As it turns out, the hole we have chosen to feed our cable through is actually the receiving hole for this piece of plastic trim right here. Not a big problem. This bit here we are now going to cut off completely, because at 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 different points up this piece of trim is a securing point. So all that is basically a locating dowel. I'm going to chop that off, which means it won't rub or interfere on any of this cabling at all. We're then going to screw this back up, and then we'll have a completely factory look appearance, and it'll look like we've never been in there. In this video, I wanted to show you how to route your cable in a safe and secure manner, and we've done that today. We've used more than one loom, grouped them together, secured them up together, run them through the sheathing or the guard or the copex, whatever you want to call it, and we've shown you how to route it through following existing vehicle cable routes. We've also done it with just a single wire as well, so if you want to actually start routing your cable, start with a single or twin cable. What you've got to remember is that sharp edges are going to affect your cable long term. If you're passing wiring through any sort of metalwork, please be sure to run it through a gland or a rubber grommet as it passes through bodywork. If your live cable rubs against any metalwork, you've got the potential to short that circuit out, and then you're in a whole world of pain, potentially. You know, there's all sorts of things that could happen when cables short out, and what we're trying to do is just show you how to route that safely. If you are unsure in any way, shape or form, please seek the advice of an expert, a mechanic, a vehicle electrician, or your local camper van converter. If you want any other videos regarding wiring or split charge system, please take a look down here where you can click on any of the links. If you want to have a chat with the guys at Rain Automotive regarding your wiring needs, click in the link down below, and please don't forget to like and subscribe to the channel and check out our web shop for all of the products you've seen in this video. Thank you very much. Bye bye.